Hello friends, hope all of you are doing well. In today's session, we are going to continue our journey on MEG 5, that is Literary Criticism and Theory paper. Basically, for those of you who are not aware, let me tell you that we have covered the most important questions from the first 6 blocks of your MEG 5 paper, and today's session we are going to continue with block 7, that is deconstruction. Now today's session is going to be as important as the previous sessions, so do watch the video till the end, because in today's session we are going to discuss one of the most important works of Roland Barthes, that is From Work to Text, and this session is going to be very important for your upcoming term and examination. So do watch the video till the end, and also do find the notes and analysis of today's session pinned in the description, along with some beautiful videos narrated in my voice. Also you'll find the link of other subjects playlist pinned in the description, so do check out those as well. Now without any further ado, let's get started. Now before we get started and talk about his essay From Work to Text, let us know a little bit about Roland Barthes. So Roland Barthes was a French literary theorist. He was an essayist, philosopher, critic and semiotician. Now what do you mean by semiotician? He is an expert in or students of semiotics. Now we all know what semiotics means. Semiotics is nothing but the study of signs and symbols and their use or interpretation. Okay, so we can understand from his small bio that he was a very influential French essayist, and in this particular influential essay From the Work to Text, Roland Barthes explores the shift from the notion of the work to the concept of the text in literary theory. Okay, what we are going to learn in today's session is that two concepts, one is work and one is text. Now this particular essay was published in the year 1971, and this essay marked a significant departure from traditional approaches to literature and opened up new avenues for understanding the nature of writing and reading. Now when I say traditional approaches, you have to understand that there was a way in which the literature was perceived by our predecessors. Now this particular work of Roland Barthes challenged it in various ways. Like in the previous session, you might have remembered that how I explained deconstruction being the ability of the reader to interpret the meaning of a piece of literature in different ways. Okay, so something similar we're going to do in this particular session as well. But before that, let us understand that what Barthes implied in his essay From Work to Text. Barthes begins by distinguishing between the traditional notion of the work and the emerging concept of the text. According to him, the work refers to a finished, stable and fixed entity, such as a book or a poem, which is seen as a self-contained object with a definite meaning. The work is often associated with author's intention, and its interpretation is considered to be the discovery of that intention. Barthes argues that this approach limits the possibilities of interpretation and reduces the text to a singular fixed meaning. Let me try to explain this to you in very simple words. Whenever we go through a piece of literature, let it be a poem, a novel or a drama, we understand the particular piece of text or a literature from the author's point of view. Okay, whatever the author is trying to imply, that particular thought occurs in our mind while going through the text. Now when that happens, our thought is restricted. Okay, now this is an example of work. Whenever we go through a piece of literature and we are actually subconsciously working in favor of the consciousness of the author, and we are actually going through the author's vision of the literature, then that implies work. In contrast, Barthes introduced the idea of text, which he describes as a fluid and open-ended construct. The text is not limited to written works alone, but encompasses a broader range of cultural products, including literature, films, advertisements, and more. According to Barthes, the text is not a finished product, but an interplay of various elements and meanings that are constantly evolving. It is not a closed system with a single meaning, but rather a field of possibilities that invites active participation from the reader. Now here comes the idea of text presented by Barthes, which actually challenges the traditional approaches to literature. And what is that? Now text is supposed to imply something where it is open-ended. Okay, when I say open-ended, you have to understand that it is open for interpretations by different readers. For example, whenever we go through a piece of work, if that particular literature provides us different avenues to think and different possibilities and outcomes, then that particular piece of work can be considered as text, and it can be not only limited to literature, it can be a film, it can be advertisement, and much more. All right, so this particular concept which Barthes has provided in his essay From Work to Text is very revolutionary in nature because it involves the reader's perspective as well. All right, because in case of work, what we have seen is that the viewpoint of the author is enforced on the readers, but in case of text, it is open-ended. That's why the readers can as well contribute in the meaning. Now, Barthes emphasizes the role of the reader in the construction of meaning within the text. He argues that text exists only in the act of reading, while the reader engages with the multiple layers of signification and creates their own interpretations. The text is not fixed by author's intention but is constantly rewritten and reinterpreted by each reader. Barthes refers to this process as writerly rather than readerly because it encourages active engagement and creativity on the part of reader. Now, you might all be wondering that how can a particular piece of literature or a film or advertisement can be open-ended and can invite the possibility of the reader's perspective, how it can do that, right? So it can happen when the particular author has kept the particular plot line as a multi-layered plot line. Okay, it is not singular in nature like in case of work. It is written in such a manner that a person with different cultural background or different literary background will interpret it in different manner. So that is why text is a very welcoming gesture in the field of literary criticism and theory. Another important aspect of Barthes' concept of the text is its intertextuality. He suggests that the meaning of a text is not contained solely within itself but is influenced by other texts, cultural references, and discourses. The text becomes a site of multiple connections, references, and allusions, creating a network of meanings that extend beyond the individual work. The intertextuality further blurs the boundaries between different forms of cultural production. Now, when we consider a particular piece of text, we have to understand that it has a special feature, and that is known as intertextuality. Now, what do you mean by intertextuality? It not only encourages involvement of the readers with different perspective, but it's also influenced by other texts as well. Also, it takes references from different cultures and discourses. All right, it has different connections, references, and allusions, which makes it a very diverse concept in the field of literary criticism. Now, Barthes' essay From Work to Text challenges the traditional understanding of literature and promotes a more dynamic and open approach to reading and interpretation. It emphasizes the active role of the reader, the fluidity of the meaning, and the interconnectedness of text. By shifting the focus from fixed work to the expansive text, Barthes encourages a more participatory and creative engagement with literary and cultural artifacts. Now, the important thing that you need to remember in case of work and text is that in case of text, it involves the contribution of the opinions and the intellect of readers as well. That's why it's open-ended. Okay, but in case of work, it is close-ended with a singular point of view. All right, now let us try to understand the concept of work and text from his essay From Work to Text with the help of example. Now, first of all, let us try to understand the concept of work with the help of example. Let's consider William Shakespeare's play Hamlet. In the traditional framework of the work, Hamlet would be seen as a finished product with a definitive meaning. The focus would be on uncovering the author's original intention and deciphering a single interpretation of the play. Now, you might all remember that I have also covered the Hamlet in my channel. So for those of you who have gone through this, you all know. And also it was a part of your MEG syllabus. So you should know about the story of Hamlet. It's one of the Shakespeare's wonderful play. And then that particular play, the entire plot line and the entire story was fragmented and it was kept under the supervision of the author's point of view. So it can be considered as a closed product by Shakespeare, where the idea is being enforced in the minds of readers so that they can enjoy it from the Shakespeare's point of view. All right. Now, when I give you the example of Hamlet as a piece of work, do not restrict yourself to understand that it cannot be considered as a text. Here, Barthes suggests that the text goes beyond the boundaries of the work and encompasses a wider range of meanings and possibilities. Instead of seeking a single interpretation dictated by the author, Barthes emphasizes the active role of the reader in creating meaning within the text. So when reading Hamlet as a text, the reader becomes an active participant in the construction of meaning. The text is not confined to Shakespeare's original intention, but is constantly reinterpreted and rewritten through various readings over time. Each reader brings his own perspectives, experiences, and cultural background to the text, which influences the interpretation and generates diverse meanings. Furthermore, Barthes highlights the intertextuality of the text. Hamlet is not isolated but exists within a network of cultural references, historical context, and other texts. For example, one can analyze the play by examining the intertextual connections it has with the Greek tragedies like Oedipus Rex, or explore the intention of Shakespeare's contemporaries on the text. This intertextual reference enrich the reading experience and expand the range of meanings associated with the text. Now, what I'm trying to imply here is basically that when we read Hamlet, one of the Shakespeare's greatest work, from work's perspective, then we restrict ourselves to a singular point of view and we restrict ourselves to a singular conclusion or a singular storyline that we derive from that particular play. However, he also suggests that the same piece of work, when read with an open-mindedness, it can convert itself to a piece of text. How? Because it has the connections to different text. As we have read in case of text, the unique feature of text is intertextuality. Now, that particular feature allows it to have different connection with different text, then different cultural references. Like in case of Hamlet, it has a connection with the Greek tragedy like Oedipus Rex. Now, to make your understanding more clear and vivid about text and work, let me take a very clear example of text. I believe that everybody has watched the movie Inception. Now, Inception is one of the greatest movie delivered by Christopher Nolan. Alright, now in this particular movie, we see that this particular movie is very complex in nature. Of course, it is very complex in nature. For instance, while watching Inception, different viewers may interpret and engage with the film in diverse ways based on their personal experiences, cultural background, and perspectives. One viewer might focus on the psychological aspects of dreams and reality, while another might explore the film's commentary on the nature of perception and consciousness. The text of Inception allows for multiple interpretation, and each viewer brings their own unique understanding to the experience. Now, the beauty about text is the same very thing which I'm trying to imply here, which can be seen by Christopher Nolan's movie Inception. Now, Inception is all about a dream within a dream. Okay, now if you have watched the movie, you know how complex it is, but in the movie you see that people can travel within the dreams, but again, when we watch it as a viewer or a reader, we see different possibilities. Fine, we see different consequences, and we can evaluate the movie based on our nature of perception and consciousness. So this allows this particular movie to be a classic example of text. Barthes also emphasizes the intertextuality of the text. In case of Inception, the film references various cultural, philosophical, and cinematic traditions. For example, it draws on ideas from psychoanalysis, science fiction, and heist films. These intertextual references add layers of meanings to the text and encourage viewers to explore connections between different cultural and artistic works. Moreover, the concept of the text extends beyond the film itself. It includes discussions, analysis, and adaptations that emerge around the film. People engage in conversations, write reviews, create fan theories, and produce fan art, all of which contribute to the ongoing life of the text. The text of Inception expands beyond the confines of the original work, inviting further interpretations and engagements. So I believe that with this particular example of Inception by Christopher Nolan, you have understood that what actually text implies. A particular piece of work, it doesn't matter, it has to be literature, it can be movies, it can be films, it can be advertisements, which is open for different interpretations by the readers. Also, you have to remember that text is characterized by a unique feature, that is intertextuality, and which marks the connection of that particular piece of work with different works. Cultural references can be there and different other references can also be there. Okay, so this is what text is in a simple words with the help of a movie. This is the video, guys. I hope the distinction between work and text from Roland Barthes' famous essay From Work to Text is totally clear now. I tried my best to make you understand with the help of simple examples as well. But in case you have any other doubt in this particular session, do feel free to comment in the comment section and I'll definitely try to address it. Do not forget to check out the notes and analysis of today's session pinned in the description, along with some beautiful videos which covers some beautiful stories about love, friendship, time travel and much more narrated in my voice. I hope you like them as well. Do feel free to comment in those videos too. That will mean a lot to me. Till we meet next time, God bless you and thank you all.